is a special presentation of TNN Sports. At the start of this year's AC Delco ASA Racing Series Championship, we advised you to keep an eye on these three gentlemen. Number 7, St.Amant. Number 21, Sawinski. Number 52, Miller. Judging from what happened 2 weeks ago in Irwindale, California, that may prove to be the understatement of the year. Butch Miller led a field of 38 of the finest short track attackers to be found anywhere into a blizzard of 300 side-by-side laps. The three-time series champion had demonstrated just how important experience can be and intended to post his first victory of the new millennium. A guy named Kevin, however, soon proved to be troublesome. The black number 21 had a nose for the lead and one of the most energetic cheering sections you can imagine. The night, however, began to look like a formal affair as black became the dominant color at the front when number 7, Gary St.Amant, involved himself in battle after battle with his two main antagonists. For lap after lap, defending and former champion alike tried to impress his will upon all others. Rarely, if ever, had the Golden State witnessed such a profound demonstration of automotive artistry. Even a crash-avoiding mid-race spin by Butch Miller did little to break up what fast became a titanic struggle of equals. In the end, the battling Buckeye, Gary St.Amant, possessor of no mean cheering section himself, took his season's first and 15th career checker. It was an evening worthy of celebration. Another resolute declaration that this is the most prestigious short track stock car series in the world. If you travel west from Orlando, Florida toward Tampa on I-4, you'll come upon a collection that is sure to mesmerize anyone who has ever looked toward the skies with anticipation. Even from within the clutter of the Sunshine State's countless tourist attractions, the fantasy of flight easily stands out. As home to some of the finest examples of warbirds and commercial planes alike, Fantasy of Flight can justly lay claim to the title Florida's premier aviation attraction. Just a few short miles down the road, another Florida attraction can proudly lay claim to the title home of the world's greatest short track competition, at least for one evening a year, as ASA Racing comes to town. Tonight, USA International Speedway in Lakeland, Florida, proudly hosts round 3 of short track racing's version of the World Cup, the Florida 200. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Chris McClure, and I can't wait for the green flag to fall in just a few moments. You know, we're only a couple of races into the new season, and already everything is at full throttle. If you follow ASA Racing on a week-to-week basis, like we all do, you've come to expect nothing but the best, and that's what we're getting. There's a reason that these cars' doors don't have any handles, because by now they'd all be rubbed off. Tonight, we return to a magnificent facility, 3/4 of a mile around in 14-degree banking. It demands the utmost concentration from anyone who would dare challenge her. And it does not, as they say, suffer fools kindly. Right, Buddy Baker?
Chris, you're exactly right. But one thing we all have to remember, this is short track racing. It's a contact sport. If you're going to run for the championship, the one thing you must do is have spare parts. That's the crash wagon right here. It has all the parts that you have to keep that race car going. Spare rear end, all front end parts, and transmission, so many things that you need. If you're going to be a national champion, you have to have them ready to put on the car after contact so you can pick up every point you possibly can. Bob Dillner?
Buddy, as the Florida sun dies below the coastline, the ASA fans going crazy during its traditional autograph session. You mentioned the crash car. The Tecumseh team surely needed that crash car a couple weekends ago in California. Mike Garvey, traditional, a bad start to the season. What are you going to do to combat that? You've grown the goatee. Is that a good luck sign?
Well, in the past it was, Bob. A few years ago, we started out the year bad. Seems like it takes us 4 or 5 races to get going, so I said, I'm going to grow a goatee and see if that don't jumpstart things. Grew a goatee, we won the next race.
Well, he's hoping to pull into victory lane tonight. He came into the shop this week with a goatee, so the entire crew decided to grow goatees as well. At least some of them are trying, and including crew chief Bon Suss. He's been trying for 3 weeks, Sandy.
Well, Bob, the driver of the ATI Performance Products Chevy, the 09 car of J.C. Beatty, tonight's story with him is about the learning curve. You see, he's got a lot in common with his school-age fans. He is a student, a business student at the University of North Carolina in Charlotte. You've been doing some homework this week, especially on that race car. This is your fastest qualifying position.
Yeah, it sure is. Everybody at ATI Performance Products just really, we've been putting it together and waiting for it to happen, and it all came together at once in qualifying, and we're sitting here 8th and just ecstatic to be up here.
Well, you guys, he's 22 years old enough to grow a beard, and ready to go racing and prove it out on the track, Chris.
Thank you, Sandy. This is the third occasion that the ASA AC Delco Series has visited Lakeland. In the previous 2 occasions, these 6 men have done battle. Gary St.Amant, a winner, also has completed all 500 laps of competition to date. Stay right there. Welcome back to Lakeland. Chris McClure alongside Buddy Baker. We're just about ready for the Florida 200. But first, those magical words from Al Alvarez.
On behalf of General Motors, riding on those BF Goodrich tires, racers, start your Vortec engine.
And with that, you hear the rumble in the background. 38 GM Vortec 5700 engines roar to life, set to do battle in the Florida 200, round 3 of the year 2001 ASA AC Delco Series. Scheduled for 200 laps, 150 miles. Leading the charge into turn 1, Butch Miller for the 39th time in his career. He's on pole. Gary St.Amant, who won the race last year and the championship, flanks him on the outside. Then Mike Garvey and Toby Porter in row 2. Scott Frazier and Kevin Sawinski, then Glenn Allen Jr. and J.C. Beatty Jr. A lot of great young talent in the front of this field.
Great rookies, great veterans. One thing you can count on with ASA is great racing. And all the way back through the field, you have people that are capable of going right to the front.
We have 0.3 of a second separating 1 through 10. Less than half a second separating 1 through 20 in this grid. It is going to be a spectacular dash over 200 laps here on a brilliant Florida evening in Lakeland, Florida at the USA International Speedway. Terrific field at the back. We're going to watch a couple of fellas back there, including Tim Jędrzejczyk, to see if he can make a move forward in the early going. The points coming into this event in Lakeland, Kevin Sawinski at 366 is the leader. Then Scott Hansen, the veteran campaigner, second. Gary St.Amant, seeking another championship, is in the 3rd position. Welcome back to Lakeland. Round 3 of the 2001 ASA AC Delco Racing Series. There's the man on pole. On the outside of row number 1, we have Gary St.Amant. And in just a moment, they're going to turn him loose, Buddy Baker, for 200 laps. Long straightaways here, tight little corners. You've driven this track. It's a good one.
I have, just a couple of weeks ago, and I will tell you, very long straightaways, and you're glad to get on that brake pedal when you go in the corners.
In the pits, Bob Dillner.
Some big problems for Scott Hansen's car in this race already. The crew is trying to reach him on the radio, but he cannot hear them. He can talk to them. Could be a big problem during this entire race, trying to communicate how that car is handling throughout this 200-lap affair.
Scott Hansen scheduled to come from the 9th grid spot inside row number 5. He is situated there as they pair up down the back straightaway. The lights are off on the Trailblazer Chevy pace car. Jim Hahn will make that left turn into the pits, and Butch Miller will have control of the situation. He does as they exit turn number 4. He's about to drop the hammer. We keep an eye on the flagger, Tom Powell. He has his hand up. Slow down, slow down. And now he gives him the green, and we're underway in Lakeland. Butch Miller on the low side dives into turn number 1. He got the line as we look back through the pack. A clean start, at least into the first corner as they string out on the back straightaway. Now St.Amant's going to make a move on the outside.
One thing they're doing right now is running side by side as Toby Porter in the 44 car there in 3rd place moves up behind the 2 leaders side by side all the way around this racetrack. That is very difficult to do.
Into the the corner they go, side by side again. The guy on the high line normally has a deficit to work with. At least here, everybody practiced right down on the low groove in those corners, and that's what Butch Miller has right now, as he's got St.Amant on his hip and Toby Porter right in his mirror.
Well, St.Amant fights back down the straightaway as they're still side by side down into turn one. Gary St.Amant, a very, very hard driver into the corner, but he's losing now as they come out of turn two.
So he drifts up near the wall, but the position after the fight of 2.5 laps belongs to Butch Miller. Now, he won the pole at Irwindale, but couldn't even lead a lap. Here, he was a little more stubborn about the whole thing.
And look at Porter. He's looking to the inside of Gary St.Amant. You can see the preferred line is right on the yellow line on the bottom. Then you let it ride right out against the wall and down the straightaway. But you need that runoff off the corner to really get maximum potential out of the motor down the straightaway.
Toby Porter jumped into third place, getting by Mike Garvey. That was in the first corner. He holds on to that position. Garvey, though, is still in contact with the front three, running in fourth. And then Scott Frazier, the rookie out of Scubanecady, Nova Scotia, is in the fifth position. And he's got a fight on his hands right now as he tries to hold on to the position against Sawinski.
That's Kevin Sawinski in the 21, that black car there just behind the 00. Sawinski, as the race goes on, is able to turn and stay lower on the racetrack. You can see right there, right on the yellow line. That'll be beneficial later on in the race.
We look at Scott Frazier, the 00 machine, the white car. He's been on a steep learning curve, but he's learning a whole bunch. He had a little experience last year from his debut in Chicago, and into this season, a pretty good start for him.
Oh, he's a good race car driver, and I will tell you one thing. In his hometown, he won 7 straight 250-lap races on his home track up there.
Looking on board backward from the Mike Garvey car back at Frazier and the battle with Sawinski. Sawinski tucked right up under the rear spoiler of Scott Frazier. Now, Duff McDonald is the crew chief on that 00 car. He's done a nice job for his young charge, who did run third at Milwaukee last year.
And one thing that they're doing right now, Sawinski is sideways up out of the corner. Wow. You think he don't want that spot? Look at the nose of these race cars as they start in the corner, right on the pavement, down on the ground.
And sliding again out of turn number 4 is Kevin Sawinski, but he has gotten through Scott Frazier, so he knew he had to get some momentum and acceleration off turn number 2, which is diabolical enough, I think. It's really the trickiest corner here. He did it. He got this car out of shape, but it gave him the speed he needed at the other end of the track.
And the other thing that some of these cars are doing is actually shifting gears in the center part of the corner to get a little better drive up out of the corners, because the corners are so tight and the straightaway so long, there is shifting every once in a while.
We see another twitch from the 21 machine of Sawinski as he rides onto the straightaway. Straightaways here, Buddy Baker, 1,180 feet. Match straightaways front and back, about 800 feet through the corners. So you've got a lot of room to work in a straight line and get some maximum speed.
You do that, but I'll tell you, your best friend's the brake pedal when you start into that corner. You really need it.
Back up front we go. Look at the space. It grows out just a little bit. The 52 car, the black machine in front, is Butch Miller. He's led since the beginning, although he's had a heavy attack and challenge from Gary St.Amant. St.Amant now has backed up just a little bit. He perhaps has decided to find a rhythm and let this race begin to unfold a little bit before he does anything else with it.
Well, in California, Gary St.Amant, you really didn't know how good he was. He dropped all the way to 7th place at one part of the race, and then all of a sudden he was up there and leading, and once he got in the lead, he never gave it up.
Word about number 44, you see him there, the blue and white car in that lead serial, running in third. That is Toby Porter, a fellow who's coming back from devastating injury, but really getting his career back together, it would appear.
Yeah, I mean, he had broke his neck and then had almost a year that he didn't drive anything at all, and then he made a great comeback, won several all-pro races, and anybody around the Greenville, South Carolina area knows that this boy is one of the real talents. And
14th position is at issue at the moment. Mark Dismore Jr. in the 22 car under attack on the inside from the red 28. That belongs to Tim Taylor, and it looks as though Taylor's going to handle him on that straightaway. And also coming along, we got Johnny Sauter.
Johnny Sauter, who dominated the race until he was penalized in St. Augustine not long ago. This guy really drives the car 100%. Only 22 years old, but great talent.
Coming back from what had to be a mental defeat at St. Augustine, he led so early. A mistake and a miscue around the pits cost him the lead. He couldn't get back into that race. Last time out, it was frustrating. Now he's trying to really kind of put his season back together. You would think that would have to be the case. But in his mind, it started really badly. He's been discouraged.
Well, the one thing in California, he blew a right front tire and got into the wall very hard there, and probably had the dominant car, and that really knocks the confidence down a little.
Back up front we go, and we have them picking up some traffic. Butch Miller there with St.Amant in second position. Toby Porter swinging around the traffic at the moment, and we have a crash in the front straightaway. That looked like it might be Mr. Kelly that was involved back up the track right here. Is that the 12? It is indeed. Number 12, Kenny Phillips. Excuse me. It said Kelly, not Phil. It is Kenny Phillips, number 12. And the 30 car, that belongs to Travis Kittleson out of Merritt Island, Florida, has come to a stop on the straightaway as well. Don't know how they got together, but apparently the two of them did.
Those black marks will just about tell you that it started way back up the straightaway. You can see the black marks where they made contact with each other, and of course the metal being torn away, which that is fiberglass, by the way.
Now you see a good look at the cage in the door, and there's Kenny Phillips, and you know that's a team that has struggled with the setup all weekend long. They just about changed everything they could think of, and just have not been able to come to grips with the car, and that perhaps the setup wasn't what he wanted when he started this event, and it got away from him. Let's go down to Sandy Hang in the pit. Sandy, are you with us?
Well, right now his crew is also trying to figure out what's going on. Greg Huey, the crew chief of the number 30 car, they're getting ready to come in. They have been tweaking the setup all weekend. In fact, they made a lot of significant changes after qualifying, hoping to get the car right. And his crew chief has a suspicion it might have something to do with the setup. And as you can see, they are tearing off that right front quarter panel right now. Bob?
Well, the number 12 car, Kenny Phillips, trying to decide whether or not to come down pit road. Talked to his crew chief, and he said that the number 12, Kenny, he just lost it coming off the corner. The car was very, very tight in the early stages of this race. He said it was his fault. They got to come down pit road, try to repair that car, and get it back out there.
Well, we talked about turn number 2 being a little diabolical. A lot of stuff starts over there, buddy.
It does that, and it's off cambered as you come out of turn 2, and he probably lost the back and then got into the 30 car Kettleson.
So I think we've captured what happened, at least part of it. Let's go back and take a look. Here they come off the corner, and there it begins.
Okay, you can see the back of the car stepping out as he comes down through there. He goes back out, spins around. There's got to be contact here pretty quick. He comes back across the racetrack and gets into Kettleson right there, ripping the right side completely off that car.
Great job by Mike Coker over there on the camera, picking that up right from the onset, every bit of it in front of us, and we can see exactly how it transpired. This from further up the track. Butch Miller, who had been picking up some traffic, here he comes down the middle of the racetrack, and he's diving down to the low side. Porter right there, and St.Amant also, and they go through, clearing all the debris as far as we know, maintain their positions as well.
And that's very important, not to get over close to the wreck itself and maybe cut a tire down. So that's why they were really weaving and bobbing through there.
And a quick pit stop under the yellow for Ricky Bryant. We're in Lakeland, Florida. Butch Miller is our leader, and we'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to the Florida 200. We're under yellow in the pits. Sandy Hang.
Well, you can see they're now pushing the number 30 car back behind the wall. They have a broken spindle, and they also have an exhaust system that is crushed. It is more than just bodywork damage. A very unfortunate happening for this team, guys.
No question it was unfortunate, Buddy Baker, because Kenny Phillips just came across the track and nailed him. He was coming up the track and couldn't get away from it. We'll take another look at the incident as it unfolded, beginning in turn number 2.
Okay, the 12 car right there gets into trouble, comes down, tries to recover, spins around. You can see right here, Kettleson right here tries to get away, but cannot get away, ripping the right side off of the car. Heavy contact there.
So his his evening is concluded through no fault of his own. He's just trying to dice his way through traffic. Several did, and he just couldn't quite manage it. Butch Miller did come through the debris a moment later, as did the front runners and contenders in the field, and they all stayed in their relative positions.
Looking at Butch Miller getting ready to go back to battle as they go down the back straightaway.
Halfway down that straightaway in single file order this time for the second green flag of this event. The lights are out on the Trailblazer pace car. Jim Hahn pulling away a little bit, although Butch Miller's about 6 car lengths back. Now he weaves back and forth in car number 6. We have our young friend Tim Shea. Let's check the scoreboard and figure out where exactly he is, if he's advancing. Yeah, he's up to 22nd. He's picking up some ground, and we're going to watch him the rest of the evening. Meantime, the green flag flies, and in close order drill, they funnel into turn 1 and off turn number 2 onto the back straightaway.
Gary St.Amant taking a look on the inside of Butch Miller. Right behind them, you see Toby Porter. This is a good look at how they come off the corner and fare right out against the wall there. About 140 miles an hour in the straightaway here.
We mentioned 1,180 feet down the straightaways, a bid for change of position there. That is Hansen, who doesn't have a radio, we understand, the number 5 machine in the midst of that bunch of cars. He's running in 10th right now. Right behind him is Tristan Dupuis, who's trying to take 10th away from him. And also in that group of cars is the number 38 of Mr. Spa from Iowa way. So that's quite a fight going on right now.
We're talking about the 5-car Scott Hansen. That won't bother him at all as far as driving the race car. It shouldn't bother him at all. I raced for many years and didn't have radios in the car. When it really becomes a problem is when you want to change the car a little bit to make it handle better.
Sandy Heng.
Well, right now, Russ Tuttle, the number 16 Conseco car, is pulled in. They have a problem with the fuel master switch. You can see the crew is inside trying to fix that. A costly misfortune for Russ Tuttle.
Russ Tuttle, the detective from Marion County, Indiana. Here's a nice dice going on right now. Hansen on the outside. On the inside, Joey Clanton, who won the first event of the year, up the road at St. Augustine, and he's gotten away a little bit. Also coming through, Tristan Dupuis in the number 11 machine. So Hansen having trouble hanging on to positions. Dupuis now moving up into the 10th position, following Clanton along.
And I don't see the car doing anything particularly bad, but Scott Hansen, we're used to seeing him go to the front. Right now, he's losing spots. Johnny
Spa is working on him right now from the back as Hansen continues to, well, on that exit of the corner and onto the straightaway, he didn't really drop off Tristan Dupuis. He's still got a car length to get back, and then some to try and get back around him and recapture his position. Dupuis is in 11th, Hansen right behind him. That is a fight for position. It is the fight for 11th on the track. Johnny Spa just behind him, and then number 28, Tim Taylor. But this is the crux of the battle for the moment. Down the straightaway they go, that back straightaway into 3. A little higher groove for Dupuis, and he dives down toward the line and then onto the front straightaway. A lot of folks have been right down to that line. In fact, the left front below the line, a lot in the practice anyway, buddy.
Yeah, well, you can see the 5-car there, yeah. Scott Hansen, he dropped the left side. What that does is let the car turn a little freer getting in the corner and actually kicks the back out just a little bit. You get a good drive up out of the corner when you run that low.
When we get a long shot on the straightaway, we see 5 cars in order, and all 5 of them in a battle for position, all the way back to number 22, Dismore Jr. Here's Garvey at the front. He's under attack from Kevin Sawinski right now. So teammate Tecumseh on the number 1 machine, and the 21 car, that of Kevin Sawinski, the Texas Roadhouse car, fighting it out for the 4th position in the race right now. We also were looking, it seemed as though, at Hansen fighting back against Dupuis as we went to this fight. This is for 4th position. The teammates fighting it out. They've done a lot of this on and off the track. They play handball all the time. I don't know who prevails there.
Well, Mike Garvey, if you listen to him, he wins all the time. If you talk to Sawinski, he wins all the time. I will tell you right now that I think that Sawinski's car is a little bit quicker than Mike Garvey because he closed in from about a half a straightaway back, and now he's just being very careful not to upset his teammate by maybe running into him, getting in the corner.
Well, Sawinski is up from the 6th starting position, now fighting his teammate for the 4th spot. Garvey did start in the 3rd position. He dropped behind Porter after just 2 corners of the race and has stood there ever since through the yellow and on into this long what is now becoming an extended green flag segment.
You know, one thing that I noticed, Chris, is not only do they drive these cars very hard, but they work on them very hard. Mike Garvey today, when everybody else was taking a little break, he was down there actually doing the physical work on the race car, and he said, I'd rather do that than sit back in an easy chair and depend on somebody else to do the work. So he works on the race car all the time.
It's his passion. Won 4 times last year, led more laps in this series than anybody else, but didn't win a championship. And usually those two things together can give you a championship.
Yeah, I talked to the guy that owns both these cars, LeFevre, and he told me, he said, the difference in the two is Sawinski waits on the right time, and Garvey's never, ever happy unless he's number 1.
Well, we saw a battle at Irwindale between Gary St.Amant and Sawinski, first and second, for an extended period, side by side, dicing, using different grooves all over the racetrack, but never against each other. A great battle between two veterans who respected each other. I think that's exactly what we're looking at again.
Yeah, you can see Sawinski's car in the center part of the corner really catches.
Okay, now Johnny Spa's moved up on Tristan Dupuis. This is for 12. Spa trying to take it away from Tristan. He's been climbing up through that serial of 5 cars, and it looks as though Spa has got it, at least through that corner. Tim Taylor right there, too, and Sandy Heng here in the pits.
Frustrating time right now for Johnny Sauter. They have a broken axle. He started side by side with Joey Clanton. Joey Clanton was 16th. He has now worked his way up to 9th or 10th. So one went forward, one is going backwards.
So Johnny Sauter, who started the season with a pole at St. Augustine and led a fair portion of that event, again comes to grief, this time in the 3rd event of the new ASA Delco racing season, falling further and further back, and his frustration continuing to grow and grow and grow. Butch Miller continues to lead at the front. He's led 42 laps for this event. Back in Lakeland, we've got difficulty with the number 87 machine, that of David Elliott out of Sewanee, Georgia. He's got something wrong inside. Is that on fire, buddy?
It looks like maybe electrical fire or something in there. It's definitely smoking very, very badly inside.
So the Ultra Pure Technology Royal Wire Products Chevrolet is out of the event, it would appear. We have a battle between J.C. Beatty and Hansen. This is for 8th spot. There you see the 2 white cars. 09 is Beatty, 5 is Hansen, and right behind them we have Clanton closing ground.
Yeah, Scott Hansen's getting a little antsy right now. Beatty can't get out of his way. Clanton has really been on the move.
Well, I'm with Gene Roberts, the crew chief, right now. Gene, you're moving forward very quickly. Your car's faster than you qualified.
Yeah, the car right now is actually doing everything we wanted to do. We just need to pace ourselves. We've got to make one stop. Joey said the car is perfect. Fuel mileage may play an issue tonight. So we'll probably stop pretty early and get our fuel load, and we'll be good to go the rest of the way.
Okay, that's Gene Roberts, the crew chief. And guys, there is kind of a magic number they're talking about down here in pit lane. That's lap number 60. One stop, if they can time a pit stop right around there, they'll have enough fuel to go to the end. If not, we're going to see a dicey situation come the end of the race.
There's the tricky part, buddy, in that regard. You don't want to stop under green, even on a 3/4 mile track.
Absolutely do not want to. You'd go down almost 2 laps when you come in under the green. But there's going to be more cautions, I can promise you. These guys right now are just kind of biding their time. As we get closer to the end, it's going to pick up as far as the excitement.
55 laps in the book on the leaders. Miller is the leader at the moment with 55 gone. When that number grows to 57, if Butch Miller still leads it, he will have his own little moment of ASA racing history. We'll tell you about that 2 laps from now. First, we'll review the Joey Clanton situation, and he started in 16th position, currently runs in 10th. So he's marching through the field as well as anybody. Opened the season with a victory, 27th at Irwindale, so he's played both ends of the spectrum.
Well, he got involved in a wreck that really he didn't have that much to do with in Irwindale, but I will tell you one thing, Joey Clanton, a very, very talented race car driver, started in the Legends division and raced against a guy that actually owns this car.
He's trying to track down Hansen right now in the 9th position, and the 09 J.C. Beatty Jr., who's making a lot of his good qualifying. The youngster holding up to the pressure of being in that top 10.
4 years at UNCC, right in Charlotte, North Carolina there. I had to bring that up because I'm from that area, but that's where he goes to college, and he started in legend cars also.
And you see one of his credentials, one of the items on his resume, USA International Speedway, which is that track. This track, he has some records. He's had some success in this neck of the woods. That 3-car serial remains unchanged. So at least for the moment, Clanton, who was marching briskly through the field, has caught some cars that are as fast as he is.
Well, what he has right now is Scott Hansen, and he's running a perfect line around the racetrack, and it's very hard to just pull under somebody that's holding the bottom as well as Hansen's car is at the moment.
And Butch Miller continues to lead with leader lap number 58, now concluded. In the meantime, Sandy Hank standing by in the pits with more.
I'm with Mike Cope right now, who is behind the wall. You know, you talked about liking the quiet solitude, yet you love big-time racing. Here you are behind the wall. What happened?
I couldn't really hear what you were saying. The Roach run over something out there and cut a left front brake line going down to 1, and we lost the brakes. The brake line's got a hole in it. It's been hit by something and been cut. We're looking for a good day here today, but I guess it's all for naught.
A very frustrating time for him, guys.
Well, another low finish for him after 18th at St. Augustine, 32nd at Irwindale.
Well, we have a great battle right now going on for 4th spot as they come along. And you can see the 44 there in 3rd place. And Mike Garvey and then Sawinski just behind him. They're in heavy traffic as they're working up through there. I'll tell you right now, Mike Garvey's car looks good to me. It's able to turn now. At one time, I thought Sawinski was much quicker, but Garvey's car is coming in now.
David Sykes is the 06 car in that sandwich at the moment. He's a youngster from Wayne, West Virginia, his very first ASA outing, and he's running with some select company at the moment. Also, the number 2 machine, that's Chad Wood. He's got a little more experience, though he is a rookie, as those folks work in and around those lapped cars coming through. Also, Scott Frazier is in that sandwich right now, and Mike Garvey is holding him off, at least for the moment. There is your race leader, Butch Miller. 62 laps in this event. He has been the leader. He's now led more than 10,000 laps in his career. The first 50 laps here in Lakeland, Florida. At the beginning, Butch Miller, for the 39th time in his career, leads the field into turn number 1, and he has the lead through most of the first quarter of the race, all but lap number 1 officially in his leader column. 0-0, Scott Frazier, and 21, Kevin Sawinski. This is an early fight for 4th. A little bit of a bump there, I think, Buddy Baker. A little tiny bump. And then Sawinski is finally able to manage to get underneath Scott Frazier, and off he goes, holding on to the 5th position in the event. Then, number 12, Kenny Phillips gets out of shape, collects number 30, Travis Kittleson. Both of them retired from the event, bringing out the first yellow. Number 16 has to retire from the event. Russ Tuttle coming to grief on the track. They go to restart in a moment, and it is leading the charge in single file this time into turn number 1, Butch Miller, as he holds on to the lead. Number 52 car, Butch Miller, fighting for the lead with Gary St.Amant trying to track him down. St.Amant's come up close to him on a couple of occasions. This is teammates Mike Garvey, the number 1 machine, 21 Kevin Sawinski. An issue there. It is the 4th position, and retiring again from a race early, far too early, Johnny Sauter in the first 50 laps.
Well, I noticed he went back in the battle. They fixed that car, and Johnny Sauter is back on the racetrack again.
And we'll check his standing. 34th, but he's getting a green dot on the scoring monitor, so he is in the event. Here's a full field summary for you. Miller's still the leader. Carlton, number 34, a youngster, in the 11th spot. Mike Miller, 18th. That's up from where he started. Dupuis was climbing, but now falling back just a little bit. Sealski, number 10, he may climb before the night is done. And there you see Sauter in 34th position. At least he's got a race car he can drive around some.
Well, he's looking at the big picture. These points that he's making right now by fixing that car and going back out there. Though he can't win, he can pick up some.
And this this is the battle resumed for 4th position. Sawinski now gets under Garvey cleanly, and right there, Scott Frazier. That's a 3-car serial, and buddy, this fight isn't over.
Well, let me just tell you what happened there. Sawinski's a little bit quicker, and it's nice to have a teammate out there that just lets you go by. That looked too easy.
Did it look too easy? Well, I was going to suggest that, but I wasn't quite sure. Scott Frazier, the 0-0, the Canadian, holding right in the 6th position against Garvey and Sawinski. There is 83. Joey Clanton has won the season opener at St. Augustine. Started 16th, now listed in the 8th position. Still trying to track down number 5. Ahead of him by several car lengths. That is Scott Hansen in the number 5 machine. Between them is the 06 car. And he's finally, or the 20 car, he has cleared him. That was Pat Kelly as he swung around him, the man from Joliet, Illinois. And now he's got a clear look at Hansen for a minute.
Yeah, talking about Joey Clanton, it took him 8 years to get his degree in college because he was racing, but he has an engineering degree from Georgia Tech.
And that's a degree to recognize. Sandy.
Well, right now there's some frustration in the Joey Clanton pits. They believe one of the cars in front of them may be dropping oil. They're scrambling. They've run to ASA officials trying to get a ruling on this. It might be the 2-0 car.
The 20 car, well, he's cleared him. That would have been Pat Kelly. He got by him. Also the 2 car, Chad Wood. So if there was an oil problem, buddy, I think he might have solved it by passing.
Well, there's 2 things that does. It makes the racetrack slick, and it also messes your windshield up. So if there's somebody out there losing oil, it's affecting everybody.
Incidentally, we heard a moment ago the word competition yellow being used. If they go 75 consecutive green laps, they will throw a yellow flag to allow pit stops. Meantime, let's go down to Bob in the pits.
Well, the number 10 of Matt Sealski is down here in under pit lane, and the reason why he is down here is because the guys are working on the rear end. Matt slapped the wall and knocked the rear end out of whack. Just spoke to him, and he is very emotional inside that car. He was looking for a good run here, and he is very upset right now as these guys continue to work on the 10.
Well, he was trying to get to the top 10 with the 10. Didn't quite get there before he came to grief. His opening effort at St. Augustine yielded a 26th place finish. Not what he hoped for that night. 12th last time out in Irwindale. We're on board now with Gary St.Amant in the number 7 machine. He is running in 2nd position. Ahead of him, Butch Miller. We look back from the Miller car at Gary St.Amant. They are together in terms of the serial on the track at the moment.
Yes, but look at the difference in the way they're running the racetrack. The 52 of Butch Miller using a lot more racetrack than Gary St.Amant. Gary St.Amant's car seems to like the lower part of the racetrack.
05, they're swinging by. That's Chris Wimmer, the youngster out of Wausau, Wisconsin, closing on number 33, Greg Stewart. They're getting around him, but look at all that traffic, and that makes it more difficult. You got to be careful in there. You can let a whole race get away from you in a New York minute.
Well, you see Stewart there in the 33 car. He's down where you really want to be. Butch Miller trying to get down there. You see a lap car on the high side there. Butch Miller right now is doing whatever he has to do just to work through this traffic and get back into fresh air.
And there's Gary St.Amant having come around the traffic as well, following in the footsteps. There you see how close order the drill is through the corner. Look at all those cars running together. Into the corner they go as Miller swings high against the number 20. Is that 23 or 33? That's 33. Greg Stewart still. They're still dicing with him. They have been for a couple of laps.
Well, this is where you can throw a race away by not being patient. When you start up through lap traffic, if you get in too big a hurry, things can happen.
And we can have problems in the pit. Sandy, are you there?
Right now it's involving Dave Elliott's car, the number 87, Ulster Technology car. They brought it behind the wall about 10 laps ago. They thought they had the problem fixed because they had a small fire in the cockpit. But obviously they don't, and they are pushing it back. ASA has told them back behind the wall.
Yeah, it's the second time this smoke has erupted from inside that car, and I'm not sure they're going to be able to continue, buddy. Twice might be too many.
Well, that takes care of the idea that it's a wire burning, because that wire would have been gone a long time ago. There's something in there that has fluid in it that will blaze up like that.
Take a look again as we have Butch Miller closing on 2 cars running side by side. One is Glenn Allen Jr. and also Greg Stewart, the one on the inside. He's got a real traffic jam in front of him. And Gary St.Amant, well, not really closing. Oh, they touched. There's a little bit of contact there. A black whirl on the side of that fender as Butch Miller kind of decided, Glenn, I'm going to push through here, young man.
And Gary St.Amant was going, whoa, baby, don't do that, because I'm right back here as he tries to work on the inside of the 56 of Allen.
Is that what you call love tap?
Yeah. what that is, you have to give them a little attention every once in a while. If they start down and you're coming out of the corner, you can't turn down. You just make contact.
I'll tell you, that's one of the charms of short track racing. And this series, of course, demonstrates short track racing as well as anything in the world is bump and run. You're in traffic, you're busy. You got to think all the time.
Okay, as they start out of the corner, that's pretty good contact coming out of the corner.
Yeah.
He definitely didn't blow the horn, but he used that chrome horn a little bit as they started out of the corner.
And the two of them now dive beneath traffic through the corner, and look who's coming with them. Blue and white, number 44, Toby Porter. He's not going to let those guys get away from him as he holds on to third position. Right now we have Miller on the point. We're at lap number 93. Then St.Amant, Porter, Sawinski, and Garvey. It is a great fight at the front. Stay with us. The Florida 200 continues in a moment. Welcome back to Lakeland. There's the race leader, Gary St.Amant. While we were away, he was able to storm past Butch Miller into the lead spot. Miller held off Porter, and now we have gone to lap 100, and the competition yellow has been displayed for the entire field to make a pit stop. But before we get to that, Buddy Baker, let's take a look at how the change occurred at the front.
Well, Gary St.Amant in the 7th car there, the 52 of Butch Miller, as they come out of the corner, they know that this competition yellow is coming up. There wasn't much of a fight there. It looked like Butch Miller just kind of held back. He realized that they were going to have a caution just a few laps, and he really didn't put up much of a fight.
So they line up behind the pace car and slow down the field in single file. Then they will deploy to the pit. That's where Bob Dillner is. Well, I'm down here at Gary St.Amant's pit. They are awaiting the number 7 car to come down pit road. Bill McGowan just told me the car is actually working very well on the racetrack. Gary wants no adjustments. As far as Butch Miller, yes, he basically did just let Gary St.Amant go. He's working the patience game right now. These guys want the win bad, but their cars are working so well. They know this is a 200-lap race. They're just going to take it easy for a while. Here comes Gary St.Amant's car on pit road. The crew goes to work on the right side right now. Only a 2-tire stop and gas. Gary's crew doing very well on the right side. They come back a little from Will Riker. He is away, and he will be the first person off of pit road. Butch Miller will follow Gary St.Amant off of pit road. Mike Garvey in third off of pit road. So Garvey picks up a position on pit road. Porter shuffled back into the 4th spot as they've concluded their pit stops. The man at the end of pit road, Fred Mellum, had the go sign ready, and just as Gary St.Amant pulled away, he flipped it from stop to go because the field had cleared. So the timing was perfect. 21, Kevin Sawinski, running in 5th position right now. Lost a little ground in the round of pit stops, beaten out of the round of pit stops. We are now at leader lap number 107, still under yellow. The standings at the top, St.Amant, Miller, Garvey, Porter, and Sawinski. So Garvey, really of the contenders for the moment, got the best of it in the pits.
I agree with you. And Joey Clanton in the 83 is also moving up. He's getting closer to the front every time. Every 10, 15 laps, he gets a little closer. I think he's going to be a big player.
He's up 10 spots since the beginning of the race. Started 16th. He now is scored in 6th position, and he picked up a couple of spots in the pits. Got terrific service from his team. And there's Mike Miller in the number 18 machine. Mike is currently running in 8th spot. He's also made a quantum leap forward in this event from way down as we get back to the green, and they charge the line. Gary St.Amant will answer the flag in the lead and leading the charge into the corner for the first time in a restart this evening. On board we are with Mike Garvey. He runs in 3rd, looking back at Toby Porter in the 44 machine just behind him. Then it's Sawinski. Clanton is in 6th, and Frazier, who is in the 0-0 car and was further up the track a while ago, is back in the 7th position.
Now what they have to do right now is get the air pressure back up where it belongs. They start out with the air pressure down, and the tire gets hotter, of course the air pressure goes up. So right now they have to be very careful not to get the car out of shape.
Mike Miller continues to run in the top 10, significantly within the top 10, in 8th spot. This guy is a veteran, 16 victories, 11th and 10th in his 2 outings in this season of ASA racing. He's capable of much more, and he likes this place.
Watching him in practice yesterday, he's one of the hot shoes out here. He really gets them out of the corner well.
second in the points in the 1999 campaign. In fact, he's finished third in the championship 3 times. He's finished second in the championship 3 times. He just can't quite grab that brass ring. In the pits, Bob Dillon. Well, we're down here at Mike Miller's pit with crew chief Carl Hyland. And Carl, I want to know, Mike was running way back. All of a sudden, he's in the top 10. What's going on? How to get up there?
Hey, I'll tell you what, Bob. I think that little Vortex power Pontiac's got a little what T&N Pop's looking for tonight. You know, and the pit crew done an awesome job. That's what pulled us up front right now. I think we got a pretty good little hot rod. Maybe we'll have something here for this thing. I hope it's got some pop. We'll see.
Well, hey, guys, this hot rod that he has here is 8 years old, but this is only the 10th race that Mike Miller has used that car, and that's what they call it, that car.
Well, that's a pretty fresh chassis then, certainly. He's up from 21st starting position, by the way.
And Mike Miller is a self-taught engineer. Yeah, he's taught himself what he needs to know about race cars, and I'll tell you, nobody out there knows any more about a race car than Mike Miller.
And he's got Scott Hansen on his heels. Now, there's a couple of guys that have locked horns more than once over the years. Between them, they, several hundred starts in this series, and they've been in this position before. They'll race hard, they'll race clean, and it should be a good battle. That is for 8th position at the moment, and they share the straightaway with the leader cars. There you see moving up. We've talked about a couple of them. Jed Brzek, 30th to 16th. We're tracking him. Miller, 21 to 8th. Esterline, 38-25. Stewart, 28th to 10th. So they've picked up big ground. And also the 83 of Joey Klenn. We've talked about him extensively and the move he's made from 16th to the 6-5, picking up 10. Bob Dillner, you have more for us.
We're down behind pit wall, number 34 car, Ricky Carlton. A local favorite here is behind pit wall. Ricky, what's going on? You look pretty aggravated.
I don't know. It was running real good. GM Vortex powered Chevy. McNatt Plumbing, your logo, just running great. I don't know. I think a plug wire might have fell off or something.
Well, Ricky Carlton's one of those guys just trying to get experience here in ASA. His next race will be in Montgomery, Alabama, in about a month or so.
He ran 30th earlier this year at St. Augustine, so he got some seat time there. Also won the overall title in the Speed Fest, the 4-race late model special, last month here at USA International. So he has some experience on this track and building his credentials.
He is that, and he was at the Shrine Hospital over at the University of South Florida this past week with the Shriners over there, with the children there at the hospital. And I tell you what, the race cars were a great hit, and we were so happy to be a part of that day with the children over there.
And he was moving up the field, too. He started 24th and had moved up to 10th position before things went wrong. There we are on board with Butch Miller, looking forward to the race lead right now. In fact, looking forward to 2 cars ahead of him because Mike Garvey has gotten through Butch Miller. St.Amant is still the leader, has been since the competition yellow, and a little bit before that. Then Garvey in the 2nd spot, then Miller in the 3rd spot, Porter in 4th, and Sawinski in the 5th position. There you see the top 10. We're at the Florida 200. It is round 3 of the 2001 ASA AC Delco racing season. Back in Lakeland, there you see the battle for the lead. It is Gary St.Amant and the number 7 machine working around. Johnny Spa on the outside, and on his heels, Mike Garvey. Butch Miller a little bit further back, runs in 3rd position, but the fight for the point right now is heating up.
Yes, and Garvey was right up on the quarter panel there. Gary St.Amant looking to take the lead. They got into lap traffic. You see Tim Taylor right in front of them there in the 28 car. He has the plug wire off right now, so he's not up to full song.
He's in the middle of the corner with them, but given some room as he goes down low. The leaders swing up high. Now he swings up to it, nearly touching fenders there. Dicey moment for a moment there, buddy.
You can see Butch Miller's car right on the bottom. Yeah, they're dicing it up, and it's getting down to showtime. As I said, they will get racier and racier to go. Only 71 laps to go, and you can see right now the players are moving into position.
For those of you that were looking forward to it, we were due a moment ago a 50-lap recap, 50 through 100, but the spike's been so good up here and a couple of others on the track, we just simply haven't been able to get to it, and we're going to follow this fight for the lead until it is resolved, at least for the next couple of moments, and maybe settles down. But St.Amant holding on as he works leader lap 132, followed by Garvey, Miller, Sawinski, and Porter, the top 5, and Clanton has gotten to 6th, and that's where he's going to sit for a little while, it would appear. He can't seem to make ground against these folks, but that's normal, buddy. When you're climbing through the field, you finally catch cars you can't run by.
Exactly what happens, and yeah, the climbing up the rope is pretty easy when you start at the bottom. The closer up, you run out of knots.
Bob Dillner, we're down here at Gary St.Amant pit with crew chief Bill McGowan. Bill, Garvey is catching Gary's car right now. Is Garvey real good, or are you falling off?
Well, I don't think we fall off a whole lot, fell off, but I think Mike's getting off too pretty good. He's looking pretty good right now.
Well, guys, the #1 car, crew chief Bon Suss, told me that car is good on long runs, and it looks like he's pretty good here.
I know we spent a lot of time talking about Gary St.Amant and how reliable he is and how good he is with the equipment. There now have been 633 laps of competition, ASA racing competition on this track in 96, 2000, and this year, and he's completed, you don't want me to say it, he's completed them all.
I got to tell you, keep your eye on the 21 there. Kevin Sawinski has turned it up a notch. He dropped back on that pit stop, but now he has run the leaders down from about 10 car lengths back. He's putting pressure on Butch Miller now.
Well, he came out of the pit stops in 5th spot, and now he's climbed over Toby Porter into the 4th position and trying to draw them down. Take a look at what Sawinski's done in this race. His 6th starting position into 5th, 5th, 4th, back to 5th. That was because of the pit stop. Now back to 4th.
And the one thing about that car is the longer it runs on these green flag runs, the better that car handles. He's got by Garvey and these guys before. Can he do it again? I think so.
Picking up ground. I think that he's coming up on Matt Sealski in the 10 car. We look at the #2 position car in the race, Garvey from Gary St.Amant on board. You can see all that traffic around. That just makes it even more exciting. 2 cars running nose to tail is good enough for me under most circumstances, but when you mix it in with all that other traffic, buddy, it really becomes electrifying.
Well, you're looking back at Kevin Sawinski in the black car right there. You can see the car coming up out of the corner, slipping a little bit as he really gets a good run down the straightaway.
Now let's talk about Butch Miller. His people, his wife, Donna, says that he's quiet, happy with the car, even though he's given up a couple of spaces on the track. This is the middle of the race. You don't take a break in the middle of a dash like this, but you can at least relax a little bit and wait for the finish. Is that what he's up to?
No.
No?
He's whipping that horse now. It's time to go.
Okay, it's time to go. The leader, Gary St.Amant, then Garvey, Miller, Sawinski, and Porter. We are in Lakeland, Florida at the USA International Speedway. This is round 3 of the 2001 ASA AC Delco Series Racing. It's all worth $6 million before the year is done. Welcome back to Lakeland. Chris McClure and Buddy Baker. Kevin Sawinski got by Miller while we were gone into 3rd position. Buddy, which car of this group do you like the best at the moment?
Well, I will tell you this. The 21 has been the quickest for the last 10 laps. He went up there, caught Butch Miller, just drove right on by. Now it's nose to tail. 1, 2, 3. Sawinski has the fastest car, but I will tell you one thing. He might have got the red off his candy stick already.
Let's go downstairs. Bob Dillner?
Well, I ran down here to Butch Miller's pit because it looked like he was slipping back, and I said, guys, what's going on with the car? They said, absolutely nothing. Butch says he wants those guys to go up front and battle for the lead and just use up all of those tires because he wants to save it for the end of this race. Way to go.
Well, I'm here with Bon Suss, who is Mike Garvey's crew chief. You said this car does extremely well on long stretches between cautions. Is that holding true right now?
Yeah, we had to make a little adjustment after that first run. The car got a little tight, so we made an air pressure adjustment on the right rear, and it's helping the car right now. We just hope it don't get tight again like it did before.
Well, you've got Kevin pretty close behind. How's this going to play out?
Well, it should be pretty good. If we can get by Gary, that'd be nice to lead a lap, but Kevin seems like he's the next car coming in line.
Okay, that's Bon Suss, who is crew chief for Mike Garvey.
Mike Garvey swinging by the #20 machine of Pat Kelly. Close order drill there, Buddy Baker, no question.
Yeah, and you can see the one there, Mike Garvey, looking to the outside. I think he really has designs on maybe Garvey trying to make that move on the outside because Sawinski is not going to give up much. He's trying to work through traffic right now. He's dropped back about 3 or 4 car lengths, probably cooling those tires because the 52 of Butch Miller has reeled him in. He's right on the back of, as we ride along, you can see Sawinski is a 21 car fishtailing just a little bit up out the corner.
Butch Miller in 4th place looked like he might be about to lose contact with the front 3, but he's fighting his way back into a very tight 4-car serial at the front. A serial made up of Gary St.Amant, then Garvey, then Sawinski, Miller, and Porter's not so far away either. Stay right there. The third 50-lap segment of this race really began at lap 110 after the competition yellow as Gary St.Amant led the charge into turn number 1 in the lead. He had a terrific battle with Butch Miller for the first and second position, and then it was Mike Garvey against Miller for second position. Garvey got that, closed on St.Amant at the point. Miller trying to stay in contact with that group. Meantime, it was Kevin Sawinski making some ground up the track. He went around Butch Miller in the third position. That concluded that 50 laps worth. We're now up to lap 158. St.Amant on the point, then Garvey and Sawinski. Throw a blanket over them, buddy. They're all together.
Let me tell you, Butch Miller in the 52 there has now moved in. He got his tires all cooled down. This is what automobile racing is all about. Nose to tail, first 4 cars.
And while we watch that fight, what about the rest of them? There you see it unfolding. A full field summary after 160 of 200 laps that we're going to get in this event. A disappointing evening for some, but not for the fans on TNN or in the stands here at Lakeland. This fight at the front with all the traffic, the dicing back and forth, changing of position has just been electrifying to watch. There from Butch Miller's car, we watched the rear bumper of the 21, Kevin Sawinski, who was just hooked up earlier when he got around Miller, but now maybe the car's off just a little bit. Did he use it up a little?
No, I think what he did, he backed off for a few laps, got the tires back up under him. Those first 4 cars right now, all of them have good tires under them. It's just the guy that wants it the most.
And we're getting down to less than 40 miles to go. Lap 162. The track 3/4 of a mile around, 14-degree banking in the corners, straightaways at just under 1,200 feet each. Plenty of speed, plenty of thought required for everybody who hopes to succeed on this track. It's a great one. Sandy Hang, you have more.
Well, right now, Kevin Sawinski's team has just been fighting it out, waiting. Tracy's been pacing his wife. Actually, on that last pit stop, what happened is they made just a couple of adjustments. They made a Panhard bar adjustment and also a pressure adjustment. That appeared to have fixed his problems, and at this point, Sawinski's car is hooked up.
Sawinski running in the 3rd position, right on Mike Garvey.
Yeah, he actually got all the way up to the number on the door of Mike Garvey's car, but there was a lap car there. He had to ease out of it or either squeeze his teammate up against the wall. Look at Tracy go. Oh, we feel the same way, girl.
Gary St.Amant on the point. A fellow who's terrifically consistent and showing it again here this evening. It's tough to make him make a mistake. Let's go to Bob Dillner.
Well, Bud St.Amant is watching his son battle traffic and try to hold off Mike Garvey and Kevin Sawinski. What advice would you give to your son right now?
I'd probably just tell him to just keep doing what he's been doing. Just use his head. Stay out of trouble. Be smooth.
Got tears of joy after the last race. What if he wins 2 in a row here, 2 out of the first 3 races?
I might give him a hug.
And back in the 3rd corner, we have the fight for the lead. Garvey's up on the outside. Number 22 in the middle of that sandwich is Dismore Jr. And we have contact on the straightaway. Dismore is out of shape. Gary St.Amant up against the wall.
Kevin Sawinski also involved there, I think. No, that's Mike Garvey. Yeah, that is
21. Sawinski is in it. St.Amant was in it. Mark Dismore Jr. was in it. And the whole complexion of the race changes immediately after the pass was accomplished over in the corner. And look at the car of Gary St.Amant. He's going to take it back around to the pits if he can.
Right front's blown out on the car. Left front's got a lot of damage did. There's a lot of body work has to be done to these cars when they come in. You can see the tire already gone off the rim there.
And there's
Kevin Sawinski again down on the left side, and more sparks from beneath that machine as well.
Broken steering arm on that car. The left front, you can see, it's turned all the way in there. A lot of damage.
On board we go. This is underneath the hood of Gary St.Amant's car. You can see the damage under there. St.Amant has gotten back. Sawinski trying to come back. And what a turn of events here. And I think Butch Miller and Porter and Garvey got through it. Garvey to the lead.
Well, there was a lap car there, and there was contact between the leaders there.
Sandy?
Well, look at what, this is just a disappointing moment for Kevin Sawinski. His team has run out onto pit lane to help push the car, get it going again, to get it behind the wall. If you can see this, guys, he has extensive damage to that right front of the car. You know, and even they were joking around just a few laps ago when we had Garvey and Sawinski. Nose to tail, are there team orders? It looked like two teammates were going to be duking it out for position, something that happens very rarely. They were excited about it, and now to look at this. Crew Chief Mike Chaffee is running around. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to get this car back out.
The 63 car, Brian Schwartz, also involved. So the 22, which was lap traffic of Mark Dismore, and 63, Brian Schwartz, along with Sawinski and St.Amant, all involved in that incident.
Mike Garvey, though, just driving around out there right now. He and Butch Miller look like they'll decide who will win this race because they have been the dominant car.
So it's Garvey, Miller, Porter, Clanton, and Scott Frazier now the top 5, with 2 having disappeared. And Sandy Hang, you have one of the drivers. You have Mr. Sawinski.
Well, Kevin Sawinski is just out of the car. Disappointing. What happened out there from your perspective?
Well, you know, it's a shame for the Texas Roadhouse, Vortec Powers, Monte Carlo, but I'll tell you what, it's not just the rookies, but a lot of the veterans. You know, you're coming up on lap traffic. We're running almost a second faster. They move to the outside. They're all over the racetrack. You know, I mean, guys like Glenn Allen and guys that shouldn't even be up there racing, you know, so it's a shame.
Obviously, very disappointed Kevin Sawinski at this point.
Gary St.Amant, a pretty disappointed guy, though he is still in the car. We're going to take a look at what happened on that straightaway, Buddy Baker, that caused all the carnage at the front and took 2 contenders from the point out of the race altogether.
Well, you can see there's contact right there. Mike Garvey gets into the back of the 56 there, and he goes up against the outside wall. There's Dismore in the 22. There's just nowhere to go for Sawinski up here.
On board we go. This is with Butch Miller. Watch it happen in front of you. Right there. There goes Dismore, number 22. He just pulled it down to the low side of the track and was able to get through. Another look.
There's your trouble up on the high side, and down low, everybody dives down there. They hit Dismore, and right up in, look at Sawinski, hard licking the outside. Gary St.Amant in the 7 car there also involved. Hey, we had our points leader, Gary St.Amant, last year's champion, involved. Boy, this is going to really mix up the points.
And the white car on the high side there was number 63, Brian Schwartz. He was the first one to find his way up to the wall. Now look at it from the infield side. There's the bump. There goes Schwartz pitching to the wall on the outside. Dismore gets sideways. Gary St.Amant and Sawinski, no place to go. Bingo. They cascade up to the wall, and all 4 of them get there kind of together. Garvey and Butch Miller go to the low side. Take a look at how they got out of it. And we'll go on board. I think we're going to go on board with Butch Miller. We'll check as it unfolds. Here we are. This is with St.Amant. And this is on board with Gary. Here comes Sawinski over the top of him. Gary St.Amant cascades off the wall and down the track, and his evening is just about done.
Well, you could hear from that. When you hit the outside wall there, you could hear it over 2 cars there when the Sawinski car got in there.
Bob Dillner?
Well, from tears of joy a couple of weeks ago in California to tears of disappointment right now. Gary St.Amant just looked at me and shook his head. He is very disappointed sitting inside that car right now. The crew going to work on the right front of the car. That's where all the damage is. A broken right front suspension assembly. They brought all the spare parts out. Bill McGowan underneath the right front of that car trying to get it back out on the track.
And the reason why they would get it back out on the track, every lap they complete, they get more points, guys.
So the changes at the front include Mike Garvey on the point. There he is, 3rd at St. Augustine, 31st at Irwindale.
Yes, and I would like to say one thing. Glenn Allen Jr. was nowhere around.
Yes, indeed.
He was blamed there, but I didn't see his car anywhere in that wreck.
No, the 4 cars involved once again: Brian Schwartz, number 63, number 22, Mark Dismore Jr., number 7, Gary St.Amant, number 21, Kevin Sawinski. Everybody else escaped. It's Garvey on the point, then Miller and Porter, Clanton, and Frazier the top 5. This is what has slowed us down. We're at lap 173, and we'll be back to Florida for the 200 to conclude in a moment. Back in Lakeland, we are still under yellow with the pace car on the track. Mike Garvey leads it. We slowed down because of this, Buddy Baker.
Okay, you're looking at Mike Garvey there in the number 1. He comes up behind Brian Schwartz. Down the straightaway. They make contact right here on the inside. Dismore gets hit from... Oh! St.Amant got in the back of Dismore, spun, and then Sawinski comes in, gets pushed right in the wall. Green flag. We're back under race.
Garvey leads the charge into turn number 1. Second place to Butch Miller, who was as far back as 4th after leading most of the first half of the race from the point and his 39th pole of the year. Then Toby Porter, number 44, looking for a podium finish. He runs in 3rd. Clanton all the way to 4th. Then Scott Frazier.
Joey Clanton in the 83, the yellow car there, has fought his way all the way back up to the front again. Just in front of him, Toby Porter. That is 4th position. The 6th car, a lap car now.
That's Tim J working with the leaders, but a lap or more down as he works in that serial of cars. We're in the 03. That belongs to Ken Alexander from Clemson, South Carolina. Is sideways along with... Not sure who the car was over there. We'll look for the identification. 03, the 09 of J.C. Beatty, who was up to 9th, and also the 38 of Johnny Spa, all reported involved in this incident that immediately pulls the yellow back out. There's the 09 of J.C. Beatty Jr. Was having a terrific run. He had qualified 8th. He was running in the top 10. Certainly his best career effort so far. That's just,
you know, yellow flag just seems to breed more of them.
Yeah.
Once you have one, you have a slew of them, and the reason for that is the double file restarts, and everybody trying to get in the corner, and it is basically right around the bottom preferred line.
So we're back under yellow at Lakeland with Garvey on the point, followed by Miller and Porter. We talked about the Fantasy of Flight Museum near here. Well, I'll tell you what, if you're a P-51 aficionado, you're going to love this place. There's one of the fighters on hand, the Cripes Almighty P-51. On the track, but running 24th, Gary St.Amant, and we're about to get a restart. Working leader lap 182. 18 to go at this moment as the green flag flies. And Garvey, the first one into the corner. You're listening to the spotter from Mark Dismore Jr.
Since he's not saying anything, I'm going to start talking, because I can tell you right now, we have 4 guys right now racing for the lead. You see right now Toby Porter in the blue and white car, the 44, right on the back of Butch Miller's car as they come out of the corner.
Herzog Motorsports Chevrolet of Toby Porter, the crew chief Tony Liberati, who gave him a terrific machine, and it's been hot all weekend. Let's go back to the pits and Bob Dillner.
Well, we told you earlier to watch out for the 44 car. Toby Porter coming on strong. Tony Liberati is crew chief. What about it? Does he have anything for him?
We've been just sort of riding around, just waiting a little bit, and we just been trying to get in position like this. We didn't have nothing for Gary. I hate that that happened to him, but we just been waiting around, and this 20 lap shootout, we should be okay. Toby's giving it all he's got.
Not a bad run for only his 2nd ASA race.
Well, less than 20 laps is less than 15 miles, so this is a sprint to the finish with Garvey on the point. And look at the 0-0 back there, the fight for 4th. Clanton has it, Frazier wants it, and that's been even closer than that on the back straightaway.
And the one thing about the 0-0, Scott Frazier, he is one of those cars that is shifting gears in the middle part of the corner, so he should really, really have a great drive up out of the corner.
Number 25 also there, motoring along, Mike Cope, who is more than a lap down. 6th place belongs to the 5 machine, that of Scott Hansen, then Mike Miller in 7th. That is the fight right there. On his heels is Stewart. Miller trying to hold on to 7th position. This is one of the better fights back from the contenders in this serial. That is on the lead lap.
Rick Stewart.
Yeah.
Wow. Rick Stewart in the 33 was completely sideways out of turns 2, but this time you don't mind it slipping a little bit. Great recovery, though.
The 06 car is the one further back. That is Wimmer, and he is not in that fight at the moment. Nose to tail for the 7th position. Those two, it's a private battle. This is where they got a little bit together, it looked like, last lap around, and they're not much space between the two of them, and a good move down to the inside, and Greg Stewart slides on through.
Well, and Mike Miller realized that he was a good bit quicker, so he didn't battle him that hard when he got side by side.
Back up front, there is the fight for the lead and perhaps the race win. That is the fight for 4th as Frazier takes a peek down to the inside. No room there. As coming across his bow, he had the line, was Joey Clanton.
As they say, don't bet money, honey. He's looking right now to the inside there. Clanton closes the door as they go into turn 3.
Toby Porter about 3 or 4 car lengths in front of them. He's kind of separated from the 2 battles. 2 cars going hammer and tongue. First, that's Garvey and Miller. Then Porter by himself. Then Clanton and Frazier for 4th and 5th. Working on a leader lap 190. 7.5 miles to go when they hit the stripe. They are there and beyond.
Well, 10 laps to go. The dress rehearsal is definitely over now. It's showtime.
There's Donna Miller praying. She's not even facing the racetrack, it doesn't look like. Butch Miller out there doing what he does best at 191 laps in the event, trying to win a race. He's already got 2 top 10s this year, including a miraculous, in my mind, 3rd place finish at Irwindale.
Mike Garvey looks awful good. You're right with Butch Miller as they go down in the corner, able to hook right on the bottom part of the racetrack. Miller closes up a little bit in the center part of the corner, and then Mike Garvey just jets away down the straightaway.
Porter continues to hold down 3rd position. You see him lurking a little bit in the distance, and then a good space further back. That is Clanton and Frazier back there. So from Miller's car, you can see the next 3 up the track. They're all sharing the same straightaway.
Well, a lot of savvy in those 2 race cars right there. Both of them excellent short track drivers. I wouldn't. Oh, Butch Miller just then got into the outside wall almost.
So he loses a little space on the track trying to track down Garvey. He's running out of laps. We're on leader lap 194. You saw a look at the Tecumseh Chevrolet crew there. Bob Suss, the leader of that bunch. They've done their work. Now it's up to the driver on the track. Scott Lefevre, of course, is the team owner, and he's looking on with great interest as well as Garvey tries to win an ASA race.
Garvey's awfully quick, but Butch Miller lost about 5-6 car lengths and made it up in 1 lap. He's got a great car. And you see that blue and white car back here in 3rd spot? Toby Porter now starting to turn it up another notch.
Coming into this event here at Lakeland, there had been 6 ASA races in Florida. 6 different people had been a winner. Mike Garvey was one of those. He won at Pensacola in 1997. If he holds on, he'll be the first 2-time ASA Racing Florida winner.
5 laps to go. I guarantee you one thing. These guys are letting it all hang out right now. They have to. There's no time to play.
If Butch Miller can get by him, the list would be 7 different drivers winning an ASA race in Florida.
Ken Alexander there. He was involved just a little while ago back on the racetrack running around the bottom. Lap traffic has a lot to do with these last few laps here. Just the way you time your passes and all.
Oh, look at Miller close down as he takes the low line through the corner and onto the straightaways down to a car length. Now we go on board with Butch Miller. Is that a spark or is that just something from the exhaust on the right side of the car of Mike Garvey? It looks like his car might be going off a little bit. And listen to the crowd yelling and screaming back there. Garvey holding on for dear life. Something's wrong with that car.
He gave him a little nudge there, Butch Miller did, just trying to get him offline a little bit.
So Butch Miller working on Garvey in the 52 machine. He started on the pole almost 2 hours ago. Now on leader lap 199, a lap and a half to go between the two. And if there was something wrong, Garvey got a hold of it and is pulled back away again. We should see the white flag for the leader. We do. Here they come. 3/4 of a mile left in this event. Into the corner they go. Boy, Butch Miller had a notion. I thought I saw sparks on the right side of that car, at least for a moment. But it looks fine now, doesn't it, Buddy Baker?
As he goes down in turn 3, just as smooth as ever, Butch Miller will not be able to close as they come down for the checkered flag.
the straightaway, checkered flag. Garvey the winner, then Miller. Porter's across the line. Clanton and Frazier following them across. They have taken their checkered flags. Hansen will be the next to arrive. He's gone through. Then Stewart, and then Mike Miller, and Wimmer, Jedrzak, Hemphill in the 0-2. A youngster who won the qualifying race last night, Ryan Hempel. But there's a look at your winner, Mike Garvey, the first two-time ASA racing winner in the state of Florida. Sandy Hain.
Well, I'm with Von Suss right now. What a great run for you.
Yeah, the car got a little tight at the end. We needed to make a little more of an adjustment. We did, but boy, that Vortec motor ran good. BFG tires were good all night, and Tecumseh, you know, they're a great sponsor. So I want to wish my grandma happy birthday tomorrow. This win's for her. So.
Well, with a win like this, you think your beard's going to grow a little better?
Maybe not. We better keep it shaved off.
That's Von Suss, who is Mike Garvey's crew chief, the winning crew chief tonight, guys.
And a terrific effort it was. Mike Garvey holding on toward the end. I thought Miller had enough for him. It sure looked like it there for just a minute, didn't it, buddy?
Yeah, but Mike Garvey does not give up the lead when he gets in there very easily.
Well, we talked about his change of luck predicated on growing a go-team at the beginning of the race with Bob Dillner. Paid off. That wasn't all of it, certainly. But we'll be back to talk to Garvey in a moment.
We are back in victory lane at the Florida 200 at the USA International Speedway in Lakeland, Florida. Mike Garvey all pumped up in victory lane. Mike Garvey, the first win of the year. The goatee, the good luck charm maybe tonight.
I hope the goatee didn't have nothing to do with it because I'm getting rid of it. I don't like it no more. But I'll tell you what, our crew won this one for us. I'll tell you what, the GM Vortec Power Chevy Monte Carlo, Tecumseh, Texas Roadhouse, everybody that backs us. We didn't have the fastest car tonight, but I tell you, they did a great job in the pits, and that mess down there happened. I mean, it's the end of the race. It's time to go. I wish it wouldn't have happened and got the guys involved, but it's time to go. It's time to go.
Well, you know, Mike Garvey was holding his breath the last couple of laps, right, Sandy Hain?
Well, he was, because he had Butch Miller right behind him, and you were working on him for a while, and then it looked like you just couldn't do it. What happened there?
Well, our GM Vortec powered Pontiac was running really good. In fact, it was running too good, and I ran it a little bit too hard in the beginning of the race. Took the front tires off of it. We had a push and took the front tires off, and we were able to put new outsides on. I was a little more careful, but by then the left front was gone, and we ran the rest of the race with a bald left front.
Well, Donna was here, and we were talking to her earlier in the race. She said you weren't saying a darn thing on the radio. What did that mean? Was that a good sign then?
That's a really good sign. If I'm not saying anything, that means I'm not whining, and I'm happy with the cars. So, yeah, Chip's laughing in the background, but Meyer Pontiac ran great. I got to thank Jolly Ranchers for coming along with us. Who else? Chauffeurs and Tyson. Thank you, honey. Keep mentioning it. I got her with me. That's her good job this year.
And congratulations on leading your 10,000th lap tonight.
Thank you. 10,000?
Woo! You're up there. Oh. That's the legend, Butch Miller.
And by passing the 10,000 lap barrier, he moves into select company. Mike Eddy and Bob Seneker are the only two drivers that had ever passed that barrier before in ASA racing competition. There you see it, the top 10 with Garvey at the front and the rest. Stay there, we got more. Welcome back to Lakeland. We have a verdict. Mike Garvey is the winner for the first time in this season, followed by Butch Miller and then Toby Porter in the number 44 machine, the 26-year-old series rookie who hails from Greenville, South Carolina, ran 10th at St. Augustine, and now he runs third here in this event. Good run for him.
Absolutely, and back just behind him there in the 00, Scott Frazier. I mean, he is doing a great job. Nova Scotia, be proud.
And Tim Jedrzak, Tim J in the number 6 machine, up from 30th position to the top 10. Great drive for him. Bob Dillner.
Well, we're down here with Toby Porter, and you know, Toby, your crew chief, Tony Liberati here, told me that you were going to have something for them at the end, but what happened?
We got a little loose. Had my brakes faded on me a little bit, but I can't complain. Second race, third place. All the guys did a great job. Got in and out of the pits. This GM Vortec Chevrolet, I mean, it was awesome. Herzog was on, thanks Santa and Randy and Tony. Everybody did a great job. I just glad to be in third place.
Well, this guy will be a force to be reckoned with on a limited schedule this year, guys.
In the late going, the standings in the race scrambled. Now, what's happened to the points? Well, Butch Miller, with 3 top 10s this year, 2 straight podiums, has the first position. Then Scott Hansen, who's been steady all year, Joey Clanton, who won a race, Mike Garvey, who's now won a race, and Tim Taylor in the 5th position. Butch Miller's won 3 championships in his career, maybe a 4th this year, who knows? Sandy?
Well, look at this little partial donut. That's on the number 6 car of Timmy J, Tim Jedrzak. I got to call you Return of the Jedi. They say it's tough to pass here, but you managed to do it over and over and over again. Wonderful, wonderful run.
Yeah, this Hawk Performance Center for Mr. Heater Pontiac, it started in 30th place. We got to work on our qualifying position a little bit, but again, we kept our nose clean and just kept working throughout the day. We got down a couple of laps, but we still managed to come home in 10th place. That was our goal for today, to finish top 10. We're still, with our second race here, we're still new to the series, but we'll be back.
Now, is that little partial donut on the front, is that from Toby Porter?
Yeah, they got a little close coming by when they were lapping me. I was trying to stay down as much as I could, and he came down and didn't quite clear me, and I was down on the apron trying to get out of his way. Thankfully, it didn't do any damage or make him spin or anything. That's the last thing you want a rookie to do, is spin the leaders when they're coming by.
Well, that's Timmy J, and I think we got to give him a nickname, guys. Return of the Jedi. Bob?
Down here with Gary St.Amant. Gary, you were very frustrated inside that car. Just went to talk to another driver because I know you weren't happy with a certain car out there.
Yeah, I'm probably a little more mad at myself. You know, I got myself in a predicament I shouldn't have been in, and just happened to go talk to one of the lap cars that kind of helped put me in that predicament. But we had a great race car tonight, and you know, I hate it for the team. You know, they worked really hard, got me out first. You know, we got to thank all the people that really make this all possible. Wins, AC Delco, GM Powertrain with their great Vortec engines, BF Goodrich, Lane Automotive. Got to thank Randy Sweet. He was down here for us too. So,
what happened? Describe what happened in that wreck.
Well, you know, there's a bunch of lap cars up high where they shouldn't have been, and that just happened. The same car was up there that had been up there all night, and I decided to go low. I'd passed him out all night low, and then for some reason he got on the gas, and Mike got up on the outside of me, and drove her down into one, and Diz just kind of checked up a little bit, and that was all my fault. I ran in the back of Diz, and that's what started it all. So some of it was my fault, but the lap cars are really a problem out there.
Tough break for Gary St.Amant. Back to you guys.
Well, Gary St.Amant, his 23rd finishing position. Salute back to you, folks. Thank you for being on hand. Thank you for following on TNN. A great run for a lot of folks. Mike Garvey at the front, then Miller and Toby Porter, and Tim J in 10th position, up from 30th. That's a terrific climb through the field. This is from earlier on in the event. A slam-bang night of ASA racing with, I think, a popular verdict and a new veteran leading the points. Next up, April 7th, we'll be at South Boston, Virginia. You can look for that on TNN live that evening at 9 o'clock in the evening in the east, 6 o'clock in the west. And now we invite you to stand by for a special edition of Horsepower coming up next on TNN. On behalf of Buddy Baker, Bob Dillner, Sandy Henn, I'm Chris McClure. Goodbye.